И снова здравствуйте, мои уважаемые зрители.
Hello again, my dear viewers. April 10th continues in our yard, and today I want to talk to you about the Russian economy. Or rather, not only about the Russian economy, but about what they want to achieve from it in the West, why they cannot achieve this in any way, and what it can ultimately lead to. But before moving on to this main topic, I want to correct one inaccuracy. Because if I find some information, and find out that it is not entirely correct, although if it is fundamental, it still needs to be corrected. And so, in the morning material, I said that Alexei Arestovich told just recently in an interview with the Ukrainian edition, that he was essentially deceiving his viewers. Rather, he explained the technology of deceiving these viewers. My dear viewers in the comments informed me that this interview is already 4 years old, and I hastened to correct my mistake. In principle, this does not change anything, on the contrary, it only aggravates the situation. That is, all those who listen to Lyashenko Arestovich, you should know that this person has been systematically and deliberately deceiving you for at least 4 years. And even more so today, when he is a full-time propagandist for the current Kiev regime. That is, I do not take back a single word. Just keep in mind that Lyashenko Arestovich, not only now, like this, he does it systematically and deceives. He has been cheating for years. By the way, in 2017, he already somehow admitted that he was deceiving his viewers. As I understand it, the hour is not far off when he will once again say these sacred words. And so we dealt with Lyashenkoich. Let's move on to the main topic of today's issue. And so, the Russian economy. You know, on Friday such a very significant event took place, which was noticed by many. I just didn't find the time to shine it. This is a sharp strengthening of the ruble against the dollar. Literally at the peak, the ruble reached the value of 71 rubles per $1. Then it rolled back to the 75 to 76 region. But all this was caused by a sharp change, in the policy of the Central Bank of Russia, which began to quickly ease its monetary policy. Why is this moment so important? Because 71 rubles for $1, this is a more expensive price for the Russian ruble than it was before the start of the military operation in Ukraine. Thus, the Russian Federation has completely eliminated the myth that the Russian economy will collapse very quickly. What the so-called Western partners of Ukraine, and the government of Ukraine itself, counted on very strongly. And yet, the sharp easing of monetary policy suggests that, in general, the Russian authorities have coped with the shock that overtook the Russian economy in the first month since the outbreak of hostilities in Ukraine. And at the moment, the Russian economy is gradually returning to the mode of operation that was before this moment. Yes, not completely. Yes, not fast. However, the trend is positive. Moreover, the decisions that were made over the past months, including the new mandatory procedure for paying for Russian goods by the so-called unfriendly countries, contributed to the strengthening of the ruble. In fact, today, if desired, the Russian government can catch up with the ruble exchange rate, at least up to 30 rubles for $1. But it doesn't make any economic sense. For the country's economy, this will not be a sane decision. It will most likely be harmful. It is for this reason that we have seen today that the Russian government has every opportunity to keep the situation under full control. The exchange rate of the Russian ruble against the dollar will remain in the range of 70 to 75, and gradually, the Russian government, the central bank, will focus their efforts on easing monetary policy and restoring the full functioning of the Russian economy, as it was before the start of the special military operation. Moreover, the Western partners of the Russian Federation, with the gnashing of teeth, are almost forced to agree that the Russian government and the central bank will succeed. And the only thing they cling to today is an attempt, after all, at least in terms of information, to show the weakness of Russia through a default. In fact, the situation with the default of the Russian Federation is simply paradoxical. Remember, 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Russian Federation was allowed to pay its debts, that is, current debts on its obligations in foreign currency. In this regard, a special decision was made. European countries accepted these payments from Russia, but the Russian Federation, feeling its strength, decided to further raise rates. And now, Russia is no longer ready to pay its Western partner in hard currency for its debts. She offers them rubles. Europeans do not take rubles, and they say that in this case we will assume that Russia will be in a state of default. What does the Russian government say? For God's sake, count how you want. We don't care about that. We are good, you are bad. And they are really, really bad. Because the economy of European countries, as I showed in previous materials, is gradually plunging into a spiral of economic crisis. If nothing fundamentally changes, and energy prices will be the same as they are now, food prices will grow very, very rapidly. This is already inevitable. Given that Russia and Ukraine were one of the main suppliers of food products to world markets, all this will eventually lead to a very serious and, in general, systemic crisis for Europe. A crisis from which it is far from a fact that Europe itself will be able to get out normally. It is no accident, by the way, that tomorrow I plan to make an article on this topic, because the first round of presidential elections is taking place in France today. And it is no coincidence that the rating of Marine Le Pen, for example, is growing so sharply today, and Macron is now balancing, in fact, on the verge of defeat. If Macron loses this election campaign, then it will be a slap in the face, not only to Macron. This will be a slap in the face to all the policies that the United West is now pursuing against the Russian Federation. Because in France, those forces that are generally disposed towards more fruitful cooperation with the Russian side can come to power, and thus, the coming to power of Marine Le Pen, and most likely, she and Macron, will enter the second round of elections, will definitely lead to a serious crisis in the camp of the so-called North Atlantic Solidarity. Because Marine Le Pen, most likely, will pursue a completely different policy towards Russia, it will become such a powerful, serious torpedo. We won't think ahead for now, but Marine Le Pen's chances are as high as ever. That is, we see that in addition to the front that is now passing through Ukraine, and in fact it is, yes, a very important front, but far from the only one. It depends on how these factors play out, economic, intra-European, political. It is precisely on this that the final outcome of the military operation in Ukraine largely depends. In fact, all this is very much intertwined and interconnected. For this reason, I will constantly pay attention to these issues. On this topic, that's all for now. Wait for the next issue, which will traditionally be devoted to a report from the fronts of the war in Ukraine. Goodbye.
Посвящен сводке с фронтов войны на Украине. До свидания.